a few of us understand what Bitcoin is, right? Well, there's more of us learning about it and how it can make you money. I personally don't really care about that. About the fact that it can make 100 rand become 100,000 rand. I don't care about that. The idea of it, or should I say, the system it's using, the the technology, the blockchain technology, is probably one of the most significant things we're going to be using later on in the future for the whole of humanity. Most likely, from what I'm seeing, anyways, because it's the idea that, well, like with Bitcoin, it's an idea that you can use money without a third party involved actually controlling that money, right? Those who are controlling the money are those who are using it. Just plain and simple, right? So, and with Bitcoin, it's a digital currency, a cryptocurrency, if you will, that is, if I can say, it's being compared to gold because it can be used as a store of value, right? Kind of similar to gold. It's limited in terms of how much is available. Right now, there's about 18 million Bitcoin available to be traded, transferred, transacted. In total, there's 21 million though, right? And through the process of mining, it can then it can then be extracted, if I'm using the word correctly, in the Bitcoin blockchain system, right? And as more of that is done, there'll be more available, and because of how good, of how effect, of how fast it is, I should say, in comparison to using normal currencies to trade around the world. There's a lot of interest in it, right? And the idea of like cash that is completely digitized and no one is in control of it is pretty interesting, pretty interesting, especially with the actual technology that's used behind its creation, the blockchain technology, right? And and with that thing, right, I've been reading up on um, that there are a lot of countries around the world that are wanting to create their own cryptocurrency, right? It's called a CBTC, a central bank digital coin. Now, they're making this, from what I understand, because they see the usefulness in having a currency that is is um is always like readily available to be transferred at any point in time to anybody around the world. They see the effectiveness behind it. The speed, the fact that anybody can have access to it if they have a wallet on their phone and an internet connection, right? It can be stored offline too, as a cold wallet that can be in a USB, or a cold wallet that's on your like device, whether it be a phone or laptop, right? And as for what those are, I would say look into it, right? I can't, well, not can't, but I'm still learning about it, so I don't think I have the expertise to recommend some. Um, some on Play Store, yeah. Some, of course, you can also just look up online, see which one is good compared to which other one, so on and so forth. Yeah. So yeah, with that being said, a few countries that are looking into it is China, and they're currently either creating their own digital one, or they have already made. Not entirely sure about that yet. But one country that is looking into it is us, South Africa. The Reserve Bank is creating a feasibility study, which is essentially a study to see whether it be possible to make the rand be used on be can I say to be used on a blockchain system, right? And it's currently a study that will be ending on the on the year 2022, and they came out with the announcement that they're starting their study on the 25th of March 2021. And that to me is pretty interesting in the fact that there used to be a lot of hate around cryptocurrency in that it's a scam, it's useless, it's fake, it's worthless. But then if you read up on a cryptocurrency like a Bitcoin, it's it's definitely being implemented a lot more around the world. Like it's being looked into by institutional investors, the ones with the large amounts of money. There's even a country that's now using it as a form of legal tender. El, El Salvador, like they recently came with it because of the fact that it's that when it comes to Bitcoin, compared to most fiat, compared to most fiat currencies, which is basically a currency that is owned by a reserve bank and isn't tied to any form of value, like doesn't hold it's the amount of it available is only determined by like the actual reserve bank of any country, and through the process of quantitative easing, they can go and print as much as they want. Which, if you understand the basics of supply and demand, if you have any kind of product that has an infinite amount of supply, its demand will always be low compared to it, meaning its value will not be, it will, its value will always deteriorate every year. I mean, if you look at any fiat currency compared to when they were first removed from the gold standard till now, its value has been just raising like straight down to zero, right? Because it's solely decided on the central banks of those countries, only based on how much they're going to print out of it, right? Um, now, now that seems to be the same issue that could be made with a CBTC because of the fact that while still owned by the central bank and it's still going to make as much as they want, from what I'm understanding, anyways. But of course, hopefully they can see with a currency like Bitcoin and seeing that, well, maybe quantitative easing shouldn't be something that should be looked into with a CBDC. And I'm interested in the fact that they are actually creating it because it's almost like, if I could compare it, it's kind of like with Coca-Cola actually coming out with their products, and then there are other brands trying to make the same thing. That means there is great value in Coca-Cola itself. So much so that there are other brands trying to go and copy that, trying to mimic that product itself, right? And while that seems to be the case with countries starting to look into making their own cryptocurrencies, right? And even though South Africa is saying that they aren't looking into making one, into making a CBDC, I'm pretty sure they will in the future. I definitely think they will. They're either going to take a cryptocurrency and make it a form of legal tender, like El Salvador's doing, or they're gonna try and make their own. Probably, probably. I actually don't see why not, since well we can see that cryptocurrencies are definitely very, very, very efficient.